Misfits play Hollywood before, it has always been Nevix on the Roadhog. Now, I don't know whether this internally is because they think Nevix is going to have more impact on the soldier, or whether TviQ has just been hitting amazing hooks recently, or what the thought process is, but looks like this is the composition that Misfits are going to run with. Triple Tank, very popular on defense of Hollywood as well for the first point.
And so Shower Joe here, if you're Cloud9, what kind of comp do you want to run against this necessarily? I'm assuming you had the foresight of knowing what Misfits are going to be defending with.
I'd probably would go dive. You can gain a lot of space. You can push them back off this first choke, and then you can just wait for the opportunity and move in. You can just on attack. You have all the time in the world. You know, Misfits already moving backwards, and it's just going to give open the door towards Cloud9.
Oh, TviQ taking already extremely low there. I think it was a Discord pop on top of him to make him a little bit extra squishy. As Roolf will be picking that one up for Cloud9. But you can see the space that they created, well, it's not really there anymore because they've been swarmed over by Cloud9, just completely surrounding Misfits on this point, focusing them down into these tight areas.
TviQ had to go back over there, missed his hook onto Gods, who is playing the Genji. He's got one now though, hook xepheR in, large amount of damage, but Misfits are surrounded on all sides as well. That pick on the KAISER is going to be crucial though, and they've almost demeched xepheR. Once the tanks are out of the situation, makes Cloud9 far less scary. They're forced to disengage.
I'd actually like to see kind of xepheR swap. I feel like the D.Va isn't actually going to do as much as possible against the Xayah. There's a lot that can actually get through and of the Matrix, and I feel like actually swapping that up right now would be a good decision rather than leaving it till later.
You can see where Nevix is playing. He's playing on top of the cafe, which leaves him a little bit vulnerable, but it seems like Cloud9 just hasn't been able to rush down this area. And with Surefour going down, it looks like they want to push out immediately here. God's just going to be sitting off to the side, has been spotted out by Nevix, but it looks like no other people can be paying him any attention. Misfits taking like an advantage, like of that one kill and trying to really pressure Cloud9.
They've chosen to run the Ana on defense here as well, which means that Zebbosai has his nano booster very early. Interested to see which target they use it on. Might be onto Reinforce as he comes in here, but they've got a Dragon Blade in the backlines as well from Gods. Kept alive with the Transcendence there, manages to avoid the hook, but the fight's still breaking out. They've used the nano boost as well.
Yeah, that got eaten.
It was eaten. Graviton was eaten by xepheR there, so great job by him. We talked about the D.Va. I mean, not really too great against Zarya, but if you eat grabs like that, then you can make that one definitely work. Reinforce was able to hit a charge off, as Surefour was just trying to cause a little bit of disruption towards Manneten. You're not allowing him to regroup with his team, but those shields are always going to be there. Speaking of the rest of the team here, Cloud9 is just wiping Misfits off the floor.
Reinforce died with his Earth Shatter available as well. Really difficult to get value out of that. So much damage coming into you. You have to keep your shield up to keep the rest of your team protected. And then the dive comp is split out so much that who do you focus? Where do you try and land that to get value out of it? They've got it for the next stage, but they've, now that they're in the street stage as well, perhaps lacking a bit of verticality as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough for Misfits to actually get up onto this high ground if they ever get pushed back. If they lose this fight, the second fight on this stage is going to be tough for them.
Luckily for Nevix, is able to get to that position and get on that high ground. The self-destruct's going to come down and looks like absolutely nothing, but Surefour's getting himself a double, a big double with that pulse bomb. Nevix trying to come in with the hook, but he's just going to be taken down immediately here. And Cloud9 invests basically 2 ultimates with the self-destruct to outposition Misfits and the pulse bomb out of Surefour to take this fight so easily.
Surefour, the playmaker, what a huge pulse bomb from him. Removes Misfits, and look at the swaps. They've utterly wasted their ultimates. They've just been sent straight back to the bank as Misfits switch up their composition, going for the 2-2-2 and the double hit scan dive comp. Very similar to what Cloud9 are running as well, but not opting for the Genji, instead putting TviQ over on that Tracer. But now they have to work against the high ground. Sound barrier popped as well, but Gods isn't caught in it, and that means there's no Dragon Blade available. But their tanks are already getting pressured. Reinforce forced to back out, but isn't going to survive. Surefour manages to find him, and they've still got a couple of ultimates to work with here as well, Cloud9.
Looks like Manneten actually ate that pulse bomb too out of Surefour, so at least mitigating that one ultimate, but it still seems like the payload should be going the way of Cloud9 and continue to be shoved in. Those Zebbosai with the Zenyatta going to be coming back in. Gods, well, just not using that blade here, and with them actually funneled again into this tight area, into this theater. It can allow him to pick up so many easy kills and only have to commit one ultimate to actually shut down any Misfits defense.
Nice aggressive positioning as well from Cloud9. Make sure they keep up the aggression in the chokes where they know the positioning is going to be so predictable from Misfits as they come through here. Bubble laid down so that Reinforce and the rest of his team can attempt to get in for free, but Nevix, Mineral, Reinforce, they're all dropping like flies. That engagement, they took so much damage just attempting to stall. There's a couple of seconds that are delayed there, but in the end, it's going to be Cloud9 capturing this second checkpoint with relative ease so far in Hollywood.
Yeah, Sharge, I think we can kind of look at the way Misfits actually went about that. This should just be some cleanup kills because of the battery response coming through. But, I mean, Misfits, they ran out there to defend the payload, but they didn't really have they didn't commit any ultimates. I think that was more of like a stagger of time, right?
Well, they played well and they played aggressive on that on second phase where they didn't waste any time trying to force a fight. So that meant they actually got 3 out of it. But Cloud9 only ever committed 2 ultimates to each fight. So the ultimate usage from Cloud9 was excellent.
There comes the sound barriers. They look to engage again, but the DPS plays have fallen. Cloud9's synergy has been excellent, and again, only having to pop a single ult so far. Roolf's Transcendence has been all they need to take them through, and they haven't really found positioning for Nevix and TviQ to get value out of their ultimates either. TviQ's struggled to land a pulse bomb all game so far after the switch over to Tracer, and Nevix just constantly getting denied from the high ground, having to battle against the Genji Tracer and the D.Va sometimes. So very difficult situation for all of them, but this is the final checkpoint.
It looks like Roolf just had a lot more freedom where Zebbosai has been constantly pressured. Manneten gonna get himself a double against KAISER and Adam, and finally Misfits are gonna stave off this bleed that was going against them. They're gonna hold this payload a little bit longer, but we have to look at maybe, Sharjah, the attacking plan out of both teams, because I feel like, KAISER, Gods, and Surefour have been all over Zebbosai, really controlling him most of this game.
Yeah, they definitely have, but it's worked out to their advantage as well, though, to be able to just control the front line.
They've got a couple of ults to work with here, both teams with decent ults. This could be the point at which Misfits stabilizes. At the end of the day, if you give up the payload all the way to here and are still able to hold them out, that's not too bad on Hollywood. So crunch time here for Cloud9 to see if they can break through. Again, another sound barrier coming out from Adam. They're going to move forward, focusing down these DPS targets immediately, but Reinforce has got them battered into a corner. Stop bullying him. Poor xepheR.
Self-destructors come through just to keep them alive here. Now Zebbosai again gonna be focused down on by KAISER, and somehow Zebo's gonna stay alive off the back of the health of his teammates. He gets himself another right click on a Surefour. Now a minute and 40 remain. The payload is getting ever so close to actually finishing this one off. The Misfits will hold on yet again here. Zebbosai picking himself up, practically a triple kill in that fight. And it looks like the engagement of Cloud9 just did not work out. I think Zebo's Transcendence there really helped them.
2 important ultimates used, but Cloud9 invested a couple of their own, and now they've made some switches. What do you think of switching in the final area of Hollywood?
It's definitely a good choice. It's very difficult to actually push through on this last point. It's such a long distance that Soldier and Zen can shoot down that having the Reinhardt shield and the D.Va Matrix is really, really strong and really helps you actually get to the car and then force a fight before you've lost half your health.
Fast engage coming in from Misfits here as they pop up their own sound barrier. Both teams using that ult to engage rather than playing reactively with it. But Misfits didn't get too many picks out of that. Managed to find Gods, who's switched over to the Roadhog. Deny any potential for a hook happening. Nice tank focus here from Misfits as xepheR overextends and they immediately demech and kill him. Resetting the time a little bit, 40 seconds now, Jason.
You can see Misfits though. I mean, this is not the first time that they've engaged a fight. Just really quickly with the help of the speed boost out of Mineral, just to force it to catch Cloud9 off guard. Obviously, it's a lot easier to be the one attacking than to stave off an attack coming your way and being forced to defend against it. Because you can control when you fight, you can control the position of the other players in the enemy team. Not to try to maintain some sort of high ground presence here. Attack bars are coming out of Nevix towards the backside, can be mitigated by xepheR for the most part, whether it's his body or the defense matrix. It's going to be enough. Surefour picks up that kill. Now Reinforce has Promo Rage ready to go, and they're able to get some crucial kills with Roolf going down.
It turned all of their eyes just for a second. Adam with another sound barrier, but they're fighting into really fast defensive spawns, and Reinforce has his Primal Rage up. We're now going to be certainly into overtime. A couple of picks going their way. Cloud9 have still got this Earth Shatter to use as well. KAISER's really been pressured for now, but there goes an Earth Shatter. Oh, huge.
Oh my lord, he blocks it in the millisecond with his own shield projector coming down. He gets the better of KAISER, and it looks like Misfits are going to hold on to this final push here. What great individual play there at the end.
We were talking about the Reinhardt v. Reinhardt matchup there, but obviously Reinforce.
Look at that smile. He knows he did it.
Looking at the camera, he knows exactly what he did. But completely denied KAISER's playmaking ability there. And that's what they need to do if they want to hold on. They expended so much time in that final defense. It was still a decent push for Cloud9, but having not completed, they've set themselves a winnable condition here for Misfits' attack.
I think what saved Misfits was actually their aggression in the last point. They did manage to stabilize the snowball from Cloud9, and then they were able to take initiative and actually push forward and take fights on their own terms.
I mean, we have to be fair. Like, even though the end Misfits did stabilize, they got absolutely wrecked in the second phase. Like, there's
For
no
sure.
doubt about that. You can't even question whether or not they did well in that position.
And really the first as well. I mean, they held
Yeah.
on for a single fight, but
Yeah.
the aggression came out, and really their players have been neutralized. TviQ and Nevix have been shut down. It seems like Cloud9 have really been focusing the DPS targets, whereas Misfits have been aiming to remove the tanks from the situation, really try and nullify the space creation of KAISER and xepheR.
And I really want to give credit to the Misfits, just to, we'll have a dance party first of all, but just to have the discipline to switch off heroes like that, considering they had, what was like 3 ultimates they gave away in second phase after they lost that first fight because they weren't able to hold the choke.
I think it was a smart decision. I think they went for one push. They had the ultimates, try and force something quickly, and then knew that if that fight goes well or not, doesn't matter whether you use your ult or not. Just swap. Let's change it up. And then you know, whilst they did lose the next 2 fights, they were able to give themselves enough time to build up the ultimates and actually stabilize in the 3rd point.
Cloud9 going for the triple tank on defense
See,
as well.
is this gonna happen, Sideshow?
No, surely
Are we gonna
not.
have Reinhardt v Reinhardt? Are we having Reinforce up against KAISER?
With the classic Hanzo Zarya combo
yes.
as well, or is that just to check things out? Oh no, TviQ over on the D.Va. I heard rumors that TviQ would be on D.Va. Apparently he's got some incredible set ultimates to use, so this should be really interesting. Seems almost strange that you would put such a high impact player onto the D.Va, but we'll see whether Misfits make it work.
Reinforce is trying to get aggressive there, as you can see, just swinging in the face of KAISER, trying to force them back, trying to mostly just get positioning onto this point as the spam and the shield wars come into effect here for both these teams. Nevix going to be on that tracer, looking to potentially flank around towards the back, so maybe catch out a support, but you can see Cloud9, they've grouped up together inside this cafe, but they've given up half control of this point already.
And with Zebbosai falling there, a lot of health removed from the field. They're playing triple tank, but with the Zen, so as soon as his Harmony Orb's taken down, difficult for them. But Nevix has found a pulse bomb onto KAISER, and Manneten's getting pretty close to his Graviton. He can avoid it getting eaten, that could swing the tide of the fight as well, but here comes a nano boost as well. Surefour popping it off with his tactical visor, but reinforced with the Earth Shatter just to completely neutralize him, and the pin, and that's taken out. Misfits in a great position now.
Well, the fight's not over just yet. The Reinforce, he's on a sliver of HP, probably gonna be healed back up as the Fire Grenade does fade away, and Nevix getting that kill in a Roolf just shuts down any sort of healing coming from the direction of Cloud9. KAISER's back on point, but he doesn't really have the backup there to really do much about this. He has no healing. He's gonna go down, and it looks like Misfits eventually will take this point in their first attack.
And this is looking pretty beautiful for them. Reinforce has built up 75% of his Earth Shatter again. Zebbosai and Manneten both have hugely impactful ultimates. If Manneten can find a good placing for this, and he's got a lot of walls to throw it into now to avoid the defense matrix from xepheR, they could start to get a real snowball going and try and match the same pace that Cloud9 had when they were on attack.
So Showerjo, look where Manneten actually just was, inside the general store, waiting for a Graviton surge. I don't think they're going to expect this one.
Oh, Surefour's just dashed past him though. Surely they will, but it hasn't been eaten. The Graviton comes in. Can they get the follow-up though? The sound barrier used. They've self-destruct up in the air as well. Catches Manneten. The follow-up just simply wasn't there, and they've had to use the Transcendence and the Earth Shatter to try and turn this fight. Could be huge if Cloud9 are able to turn it around here.
Well, it looks like Middle was able to chime in on KAISER to help solidify that kill, at least shut him down in particular, who had his Earth Shatter ready to go, so they know the focus targets they want to hit. And now Cloud9 is just trying to stall for some time, trying to keep this payload contested until those respawns do come back in. Gods and Surefour are going to be going to end together, but also dying in tandem with each other. And Surefour will eventually fall here, as he's just still somehow stalling for an extra crucial couple of seconds.
Looked like he should have been able to get the kill on Zebbosai there, but going for the punch in the face rather than the reload, and the Mineral could heal him back up. And Misfits somehow clutched that one as well. It was looking dangerous for them. They had to commit 3 ultimates to it as well, and now KAISER making the switch over.
He had Shatter.
Did he?
Yeah, he had Shatter, and he switched over to Winston as well, so
Kind of
realizing
similar
what
to
they
what we saw
need.
Misfits doing. It seems like they're really valuing the Winston to be able to get out of these small chokes towards the end.
Especially the high ground control too with Saloon, making sure you can at least take the position away. As now Soundbear's gonna be coming in, Zebbosai looking to stay healthy and towards the back. Actually gonna be focused down by Surefour, who picks up that kill with relative ease. And Manneten, decent amount of charge on him, 30%, but without teammates there to help out, looks like eventually they will fall off here in Cloud and will stabilize and hold on to the second point. So those last second switches coming out working flawlessly.
God's actually got a really good Dragon Blade off there. Even though he didn't get any kills in the kill feed, he popped off his Dragon Blade, forces Mineral to reply with the sound barrier, which doesn't catch that many people because he forces it out in a bad position. And then God's is able to put damage on people, and they collect the kill onto Zebbosai, and that just snowballs the entire fight. Nevix making a swap off here as well, going for this 2-2-2 composition. What are the crucial things for Misfits to do here, Showergel, in order to take position over Cloud9 when they've got this setup defense?
I They need to get high ground. Obviously, you can jump further from there, and you just set yourself up. You find somebody who's isolated, and then you can dive them. If that's support, that's great. Even if it's not, going into a 5v6 is really, really strong.
Pulse bomb laid down. Zebbosai chipped to only 20 health, and God's going to finish it off with a shuriken to the face. That's again a huge amount of healing. Zebbosai's been picked quite a number of times early on in these fights. Difficult to survive a pulse bomb being stuck onto you. Looks like Misfits are struggling to stabilize here. Loads of ults available for Cloud9 as well that they're not even going to have to expend.
I don't even want to blame Zebbosai in that situation for him dying, because there was 4 of them inside that saloon, and Gods went in by himself, picks up the kill, and then escapes without being killed. Like that should never happen. You should never allow Genshin to go in 1v4 against you guys, pick up a kill and escape, so that shuts down their attack. They're not going to commit any ultimates, obviously, but they're allowing Cloud9 to build up, basically 6 ults here. Surefour at 50%, but I mean, we know how quickly, as a tracer, you can build up an ult.
2 minutes left. Engage with the sound barrier. They're going into them. Misfits want to commit to this fight as well, not just force ultimates out. Transcendence popped out from them. At the end of it, though, dive from Gods. Picks up 2 already into Zebbosai on the back. Gonna finish it off with a 3k4 now. Reinforced falls, and Misfits a complete collapse. A minute and a half left. They invested a fairly large support ultimate into that one, but they got a lot out of it from Cloud9 as well.
It's definitely a good fight for them. I think something to notice as well is that Surefour and Gods are both on the same target all the time. That previous Lucio sound barrier from Misfits, they both chunked through it and ended up killing Roolf through it. So the amount of focus from those 2 DPS is what's winning them fights right now.
And Zebbosai was even jumped on in that fight too. That's why we saw the Transcendence come out of him, because he wanted to stay alive, and the team wasn't really in a position to defend him, so maybe play a little bit more back. Obviously I'm not going to be one to criticize these guys in terms of how to play, but they need to fix something in their compositions or something in their team play to keep their supports alive, because now you see Mineral go down, their Lucio player, and then I would assume Zebbosai is going to be quicker thereafter.
You could see there, when Manneten tried to dive in on the Tracer, xepheR was there with the peel completely, keeping Roolf alive, just defense matrix right over his head. A bomb in from TviQ as well with the ultimates. You can get anything from it, but not quite. Able to get back into the mech, but they're losing player after player. Zebbosai again fallen. Mineral's going to commit to this one. There's only 30 seconds left, so they have to turn this fight.
They committed a sound barrier there with only under 3 people, and TviQ could use the self-destruct, knowing there was only about 35 seconds remaining, but they're still fighting out here. The teammates of Misfits have not returned to join them yet again here, but it's still a scrappy fight for both teams. The sound barrier coming in. Gods again with the Dragon Blade looking to chase down onto someone, but he doesn't have the opportunity to pick up a kill yet, because Reinforces there knocking away. Zebbosai's going to get that kill, the payload, but at least be back on top and to force it over time with 5 seconds to go.
This could be where they turn it. They've managed to force a Transcendence out of Roolf, and a huge amount of damage coming out from Nevix there. KAISER dropped down to incredibly weak health, and Zebbosai's got his ultimate. It looks like they're going to be able to do it in the overtime. Cloud9 finally falling. That's going to open up at the second checkpoint. They might even get the opportunity to recontest, but at the moment just delaying, seeing if they can set up anything here. Really interesting compositions and how they've worked with it from Misfits, but in general, they're just holding on by the skin of their teeth.
Surefour, oh, he had post bomb, but he gets taken out by Zebbosai. They were all grouped up with the payload. They had to stay there. If you maybe would have stuck that, that could have been the downfall of Misfits, but here we go. Kills still coming into TviQ. Another self-destruct, and at least zone them away from this one and pick up a kill on Adam. And I think Misfits are finally going to cross the second checkpoint, but they don't have that much time to close out this map.
KAISER invested his Primal Rage into that. I assume they're going to be swapping off to a Reinhardt Sentry composition now. Yes, KAISER coming back up on the Rhine. See if they are joined by a couple of other tanks. They're going to aim to replicate what Misfits did to them, but look at this forwards aggression. Manneten and Nevix really getting deep into the spawn. Pick up the kill onto Gods really early. Already around the back of KAISER as well. Huge pressure being applied to him.
KAISER, he just can't really get safe because he's got a soldier behind him. He's got Tracer right around him. That pulse bomb coming through does a decent amount of damage to xepheR, but doesn't pick up the kill, doesn't desuit him most importantly. But with that aggression of Misfits, it forces Cloud9 even further into the spawn and allows his payload to move even further. With 50 seconds remaining, they still have another 40 meters to go to close this one out and potentially take this first map.
Because Cloud9 had such a good defense in the second portion, they've managed to really limit the amount of time Misfits have to work with, and this is a difficult point to crack as well. A tactical visor from up top. It's just getting completely eaten for the moment, but he manages to give xepheR the jukes, popping his way down. Huge amount of damage into the backline. Massive amount of kills for Misfits here. They've still got the Transcendence to work with and potentially a pulse bomb, but a little bit of delay. Possibility for the spawners to come in here, but the goal is within their sights.
Oh, the pulse bomb's ready to go for Manneten. He's going to try to at least desuit xepheR again, who's just delayed for so long here. Overtime is 15 seconds away. Even the Saber going to be coming out of Cloud9. They need to stabilize here. Middle's going to pop his own just to respawn, just to make sure they can hold on here. Zebbosai, Trance is ready to go. They have another support ultimate where Roolf has his Anubis now put onto KAISER.
Here we go. They're getting really weak here. At some point, Zebbosai's got to pop it off. The Transcendence comes out, but they've already lost 2. Slightly too late there to save Mineral and Reinforce. Might still be enough to get them across the line, but that Earth Shadow looks like it's going to seal the deal. KAISER coming out with what he's known for best, and they have knocked the Swedes to the ground. Can they clean up the last couple of people with these spawners? As overtime ticks down, it looks like Cloud9 are going to be able to take this first map on Hollywood. They've still got a little bit of janitor duty to do, but as the pin comes in at the end there as well, it is going to be the North American team with the win on Hollywood.
Wow, so Cloud9, I mean, Sharajo, I know that was hectic the last basically 5 minutes of time there from the second phase of that last scrappy fight into the conclusion of the map. You know, break it down for us, like what was going on towards the end, because it was so hectic. It's hard to kind of even pinpoint an individual player, an individual performance.
I think it's interesting that Cloud9 actually went aggressive with only 50 seconds left. They knew that actually if they maybe played a bit more defensive, that they could make sure that it was only one fight. But they actually did a good job of at least going even. It looked like they might have been losing the fight, but they just wanted to get a couple of picks right at the end. And with the spawn times being in their favor, they were able to regroup and actually win that fight. So really good to extend the fight out and make sure that there was only one. And even if they did lose it, that they had another to kind of in their back pocket if they needed it. But I think their second point, Cloud9, was really where they stood out and put the pressure on Misfits. They really struggled. Misfits not able to actually kind of work around the D.Va and actually get her to look at 2 different directions. Making sure that she actually looks in different ways makes it a lot easier to get the damage through, because otherwise Matrix is just going to block everything from Soldier and from any other damage that's going to come through. And actually they didn't have that much long range damage, so it is up to the Tracer to flank and to take the attention away from D.Va.
TviQ playing the D.Va as well was really interesting. I mean, he's the playmaker or he's one of the playmakers for this team. He's renowned for his amazing DPS ability, and they had him on the D.Va for a fairly large portion of where they were attacking the second point and the first one as well. And he plays it in a very aggressive style, it seems. Like, it was a large contrast between how TviQ was playing the D.Va and how xepheR's playing the D.Va. Very close to his backline, able to peel constantly for Roolf. Roolf really never seemed like he was in any danger from the diving tracers. And over on the other side, they found it incredibly difficult to keep Zebbosai and Mineral alive. So
that's what we saw in the second phase. Like, every time that Misfits would try to find another avenue to attack, like a different direction to go down the main street, down the right, down the left, they would be there to respond. And we saw what KAISER would jump on top of Zebbosai, which in that play of the game, we noticed Zebbosai had to pop Transcendence just to stay alive, and God's like, okay, I can wait like 5 seconds, pop my Dragon Blade, then pick up a quad kill.
Yeah.
And the constant pressure onto him, not allowing him to pick up a lot of healing and a lot of damage to get trances over and over and over again, I think kind of limited the way Misfits could at least play in that second phase.
And I think that comes down to as well as the composition. I know that kind of second phase they were running quite similar, but actually Misfits running Soldier and Tracer rather than C9's Tracer and Genji means that actually Tracer's on her own. She can't do anything. There's a lot less kill potential, and it is very easy for the D.Va just to look at Tracer, press right click, and then bring up the Matrix and just delete any damage, put enough pressure onto Tracer that she then has to recall, and then there's no other follow up. Whereas actually TviQ has to deal with two flankers, and some of that damage is impossible to Matrix. You can't Matrix a melee, and you can't Matrix the dash through the support, and it worked out for them. And
Nevix on the Soldier was trying to take the high ground as well when they were attacking second a number of times, and Gods would be contesting him up top, and whenever he got into position, xepheR's over there immediately, and they've got such a good response in that final area that I felt like Misfits had to go as a whole team up top and try and take the high ground. I think they were trying to send individual players up there to have a 2-pronged attack, but they were getting dealt with so easily, it seemed, by the mobility of the Cloud9 roster and the way that they were using their D.Va and their Genji. I feel like perhaps if they'd just gone wholesale at top and tried to completely deny that position, they might have got a better engagement.
Yeah, definitely just put, as soon as D.Va does fly up, put the pressure on her, get her to fly back to her teams for healing, otherwise she's going to get demeched, and that's your opportunity. As soon as somebody's low HP and the healers have to focus on that person, and Roolf being on Zen means that there's no burst healing like you have with Anna, so there's your opportunity. But they didn't create that space for themselves, and they didn't create the opportunities that they needed with the composition that they had of Tracer and Soldier.
All right, guys, now we're loaded into Nepal here as our second map. Going to be on Control. How are you feeling about these teams on this kind of map mode?
I'm actually not surprised that they went for Nepal. Obviously, Sanctum, which we'll see soon, is quite a tank-heavy kind of composition anyway, or favours kind of tanks is quite compact. But I think it'll be very even. I think after what we've just seen, and actually C9 favouring the kind of flankers, I think that'll favour them, because what they'll do for Sanctum is they'll just swap to the tanks and still be fine.
Right.
I think we'll see quite a number of niche picks for these two teams as well. They've got a lot of flexibility in terms of their individual hero pools in this roster. Maybe not on this one, but once we got the Village, something like that, we could see the Faras, maybe even the May come out, things like this. And they certainly didn't want to take Cloud9 to Oasis, I don't think.
Well, as you pointed out, Showerjaw, we're going to be seeing the Tracer and the Soldier pick up again for Misfits here on the red side, and Cloud9 going to be running the Genji Tracer combo that we just saw on Hollywood here. So far, Zebbosai has been able to set himself up towards the Elephant side. No kills coming in just yet. Actually, not even that much damage, to be honest, as both teams are just trying to poise for positioning around this map, as the point has finally unlocked. Let's say Misfits have gotten a majority of the initial capture.
Yeah. Vying for position, just poking each other, seeing if they can get the better end of any individual target. TviQ dropped really low though, actually went on a flanking route and ended up getting picked up by Gods, who's in the back line now, causing a ton of pressure onto Misfits. They're dealing with it relatively well with their biotic field. They're staying grouped up on the left-hand side near the Elephant. They've managed to find the pick on Adam as well, but it's very back and forth between these two teams, neither really wanting to engage, initiate.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've already lost the point as Misfits. Either you're just going to go in and die, or you have to get those picks and then hope to take it back. And now, Showerjaw, we have to talk about this. We talked about, you point out TviQ, the fact if he's flanking, well, there's a D.Va, he can't really do much damage, because the D.Va doesn't have to look in two different directions without, like, maybe a Genji or someone else there to assist. So why are we seeing the Tracer Soldier combo to Misfits when we know Nevix can play Genji?
I honestly don't know why they're picking the Soldier over. They probably feel like that actually they can just kind of brute force their way, get the Matrix down, and then just go through the middle.
There's a pulse bomb, removes whatever Manneten had from the sound barrier. Roolf replies, 2 support ults used here from Cloud9, so decent for Misfits. So they managed to force out both of them, and now they're applying a lot of pressure again to the tanks. That seems to be the go-to strategy for Misfits, really applying a huge amount of pressure over on xepheR and KAISER, and then seeing if they can get the cleanup afterwards. This could be the first flip over from Misfits on Nepal, and again, this is their map pick as well, so they need to be performing. And this is going to be them getting their first capture on the board.
Just to remind you guys at home, this is not like a best of 3, it's not a best of 5, it's 4 maps played total. Every team and every matchup today will be playing out the entirety of those 4 maps. And the group settings come down to how many maps that you have won across all of your individual series. So just to give you guys an idea, when you see 2-1 or 2-0 potential here at 2-1, you're not thinking it's a best of 5. There's no way a best of 5 group stage can last over the course of 2 days. We need probably like 6 for that. But either way, we do have a lot of ultimates ready for Misfits. 4 to go here. TviQ trying to make something with that pulse bomb work. Doesn't seem like he was able to stick, or at least do enough damage off the back of that on the someone to kill them off. But just looking at what Cloud9 have, like, Sideshow, this has to be a dry run, right? This has to be an eco push.
It looks like it. Misfits in general have been incredible at staying in control of Nepal and Village and Sanctum and Shrine. It kind of seem to be their home grounds, but they got a couple of ultimates forced out of them there, and Cloud9 are going to look to reinitiate. They're going to have the Dragon Blade and the Transcendence to be able to use. And then KAISER's also got his ultimate if they need to apply a little more pressure to the backlines.
What's dangerous, Showerjaw's middle doesn't have his sound barrier yet. They don't have a way to stop Gods' ult.
Well, you've got Roolf, and by the time the Transcendence is over, Adam will actually have his ult as well. So having the double support ult.
Gods got taken out by the self-destruct in the middle of that as well. He was halfway through his Dragon Blade, had already found Zebbosai, and then Nevix pops off his tactical visor as well, just to delete the second DPS player of Cloud9. That should have been a potential opportunity for Cloud9 to get back in control. They did manage to flip the point, but they're getting the worst end of the fight in general. Misfits going to be able to recap and stabilize, it seems, but very close between these two teams so far.
That's big.
I guess you don't need a support ultimate if you can somehow catch the Genji with the self-destruct, right? I guess that can kind of support ultimate. But yeah, I mean, I agree. That should have been Cloud9's fight when you didn't have a sound barrier or even a Transcendence to respawn to Gods, which we already saw in Hollywood how well he can play this Genji. But now they got the sound barrier ready to go. Zebbosai only about 50%, Roolf or about 40-50% himself. They're going to have the sound barrier out of Adam, but that's going to be pretty much it in terms of defense or aggressive ultimates.
Both sound barriers used. Cloud9 coming up on the right-hand side. Nevix incredibly low there. They've managed to find 2 initial picks, and they're still really healthy on the side of Cloud9. Pulse Bomb used, but doesn't quite hit anybody. Doesn't matter though, because Surefour still does a huge amount of damage just with his little pistols there anyway. Coming back up onto the point. Misfits have managed to get into overtime here, but with 77% over on Cloud9, they really needed to get the better end of this fight. And the possibility for a recap is going to be in the very last little nick of time here.
They do have the time to regroup though. 20% is enough. You expect one more fight, even if it is rushed. And it's going to be a very even fight. Neither team has an ultimate, but we do see Roolf very close to that transcendence, and along with Zebbo, so it's going to be a case of who gets there first could win the fight.
Or even what Zen's going to be alive at that point, because we see both chasers do fairly well and try to counter each other, and Roolf's going to pop his out a little preemptively just to make sure he does not get taken down. Zebbosai, 99%, he has his ultimate available, deals 1 HP, he's going to pop it off to just barely stay alive here. That might be the turning point now for Misfits, as TviQ is just not able to hit that post bump, but the self-destruct catches 2. Manneten, where the hell did that come from?
Enormous plays from Manneten again with the self-destruct. Fantastic stuff from them, and they all managed to get their ultimates just in the nick of time from Misfits. It was overtime. Zebbosai was only on 1 health. Nevix also popped off his tactical visor. They had the huge self-destruct. That's the definition of clutch right there coming out from the Swedish team, as they managed to steal that one away from Cloud9.
Oh, I mean, you saw, I was staring at Zebbosai's HP the entire time. He was at like 95%. He got down to, I want to say 10 HP.
Yeah.
And then just barely in the nick of time, spammed his Q button, probably broke his keyboard off of that. And I kept himself up. I mean, that's where we see the focus of Cloud9 go towards Sharjah, right? It's always been towards the supports. And Zebbo, he's been unfortunately on the blunt end of that sword.
Yeah, well, with Cena's composition, with the way that they're playing, they have to go for that backline, and they have to get those kills. And they didn't in that situation, just managed to get the ultimate, and it paid off for Misfits to keep Zebbosai alive.
Nepal in general is a map where each stage can justify a different composition as well. So with these versatile teams, definitely see something interesting going into Village here. Got triple tank coming out from both of them. Anna on the side of Roolf, along with xepheR on the D.Va.
No one's going high ground.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first times I've never seen people go high ground.
And Misfits instead going for Manneten on the Zarya. So a lot of damage going to be coming out from him. He should be able to build up that energy fairly well. Difficult to get value out of the ultimate though, perhaps. A big brawl happening on the ground here though. Both teams not aiming for the high ground.
So instead of going for any flanks, any backlines, we're just like, we're going to just power straight through you. We're going to kill your main tank KAISER and give you no chance. I mean, you saw Reinforce, he was shielded, right? So there was no chance to even stop him.
Yeah, well, there's a slight difference between having Gods on Roadhog and having Manneten on Zarya, and those shields can completely negate any hook and any kill potential that Gods can have, along with the fact that it's really hard to hit a Tracer with a hook, and even if he does hook anyone else, it's hard to one-shot them.
Oh, Reinforce!
What a play!
My man!
That's fantastic coming out from Reinforce. Check your corners. But Cloud9 walk into that one. A free ultimate for Reinforce. He's got to be feeling good about that.
That's huge for Misfits. Just being able to use one ultimate to win that fight sets them up for the next 2 at least.
Oh, God. And that has to put some doubt in the minds of Cloud9 as well. The fact that, I mean, that's a corner you generally should check. And as you just pointed out to me, Sharjah, we see a little bit of a switch up for Cloud9.
Yeah, they're obviously not feeling it. They go back to double flanker combo. But KAISER coming out with his own ult.
xepheR used on the floor there. Don't think he caught anybody, but they're still going to be able to follow up onto it. They've got that nano boost for the next fight, potentially. But Misfits didn't really engage anything into that one. Just choosing to give up the ground for free. KAISER generating 44% of his ult already, as well as God's ticking it up. So now, Misfits in the situation where they have to re-engage into this, but they have a massive ultimate here. They've got the combo, the big bang, but potential for it to be eaten as well. They've got to tread carefully around xepheR.
If xepheR catches both these, I'll like to lose my shirt, just catch my shirt off. But luckily for me, he doesn't catch any of that. And there's Nevix, a self-destruct and the pulse bomb, throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this one just to lock it down. It allowed Reinforce to at least charge up another Earth Shatter here, but still, that was a hell of a lot of ultimates to commit.
Yeah, a little bit of overkill. I like going for the self-destruct over the pulse bomb. It's a lot safer, and you just, with the Graviton that was actually in that position, Reinforce could just get a free charge on KAISER. There's nothing KAISER can do. He either has to counter charge and he loses his shield, or he gets pinned and he loses his shield. It's a win-win for Misfits in that situation. Don't think they need to commit all the ults though, and it could cost them.
Great coordination, though, to retake the point. A little bit of a tracer battle happening on the floor as Surefour aims to get them down. That's going to be blocked, though. Reinforced not able to get such a meaty Earth Shatter as last time, as Cloud9 come back in with their support ultimate use. Misfits still got one in the bag, though.
The point got flipped. It looks like I think it was Surefour was able to turn the one around, and Gods puts himself up a quick quad kill off of this. So Misfits try to engage with the Earth Shatter, which unfortunately does get blocked out on. But before even that happens, they lose the point because of not keeping a man there to contest it. So did Nevix lose the 1v1 against Surefour, or did he just fall off the point a little bit too early?
Maybe just too much damage and didn't feel like he could take the fight and had to back off, but Surefour really flipping that one for his team, getting a lot of free percentage, and Misfits had to turn their eyes, turn their attention, and now they're in the awkward position of recapturing. They are at 79%, so one good recapture will be helpful. Look at this, though, dropping it from the high ground. They're right behind Reinforced, but he turns at the last moment, still going to catch Zebbosai there, but the sound barrier keeps him alive for now, and KAISER's been pressured down. Manneten doing a great job as Zebbosai comes in and saves them all with the Transcendence. Looking like a decent opportunity to flip the point here, as they do, ticking it up into the 80%. Cloud9 as well, if they get a couple of stalled kills towards the end here, really difficult for them to get back into the fight. 90% now.
They want that kill in Surefour. They want to at least eliminate him to keep this man advantage.
This is going to be tough for Cloud9. That kind of late stall, they didn't all die straight away. Well, they've got 5%. They do have somebody on the point, but everyone else is going to have to rush through, and it could just be Manneten's ult. Could just give them the advantage there, an easy fight.
Both gravitons up for both teams. Manneten used it. Surely that's gone somewhere. Can't quite see, but the ultimate from xepheR definitely caught everybody. There's the follow-up there, though. Misfits, they've only got 2 players alive. Surely not going to be able to turn this one. Nevix is a great player, but just doesn't have the damage output to be able to turn it. And then Cloud9 now ticking themselves up 85%. Is there even enough time for Misfits to get back into this one? They lost Nevix incredibly late. Reinforced going to be coming up to his Earth Shatter, but that's the only ultimate they've got.
Oh, and Gods and Surefour, the 2 flankers have their ults ready to go too. This is going to be so difficult to sustain from Zebbosai switching over to the Ana. Last second here, Gods be coming towards the back, looking for him, and he doesn't connect it. Looks like the Earth Shatter didn't even hit on the Gods either, and Gods just cleaning up here in Cloud9. Most certainly will close this one out, and Village will be theirs, tying things up at 1 apiece here on Nepal.
Well, I gotta say, Gods was my guy to watch on Cloud9 to see how he was performing on Genji, but he has had some absolutely fantastic Dragon Blades over the course of this game, setting up perfectly along with his tank line as well. They knew that Misfits were gonna be forced to commit to that point. It was getting down to overtime. They had to try and hit him with the Earth Shatter as well. Leaps over the top of Reinforce's head and gets a huge amount of value with his Dragon Blade, tying it up 1-1.
I think, I want to say, I couldn't see from the angle we had, that xepheR shielded Gods, because he was playing Zarya, to stop the Earth Shatter from hitting, which allowed him to actually get this whole combo off.
Potentially, yeah. But either way, nice play from Gods and from Cloud9 to avoid that. Their last hope was that Earth Shatter to try and stop Dragon Blade. No support ult available to try and kind of survive it.
A big difference in terms of how they were able to use the gravitons at the end there. xepheR made the clutch move over to Zarya towards the end, built up the graviton. Him and Manneten both had it. Manneten threw his, didn't really catch anybody, or at least the follow wasn't there, and xepheR got a meaty one to be able to wipe Misfits. Now, onto Sanctum. Much more the home of the triple tank, but we've seen both of these 2 teams not afraid to play it in different areas anyway. So this one, that was a sleep dart right at the beginning. Who did that catch? Nevix, huge amount of damage taken out from the shield.
This is going to be favoring the side of Cloud9 too, which is the fact that they have a Roadhog just eat away at this Reinhardt shield for Reinforced, and xepheR's going to be there to block any damage coming back their way. Reinforced already on a sliver of HP, going to be healed back up though. Going to be relatively slow with no Ana to get that bio grenade. Point has finally been unlocked, and God's going to hit a hook. That's going to pull TviQ a little bit too far deep. But still, no kills coming off the back of this.
Roolf with a super quick nano boost built up from healing the rest of his team here. If he needs to use it, that will definitely turn the tide of the fight. Gods gets it at the end of his hook just to melt Reinforced. To be honest, though, I don't think they needed it. At that point, the fight had already been won, but Roolf just making sure that he's completely got that fight in the bag and Cloud9 take early control.
Yeah, I definitely like to see the Ana on this kind of map. It's very close, it's very contained, and it's very easy to hit Ana grenades just from over the top, and even just heal a lot of your tanks up in a very short space of time. And that's something that Misfits actually struggled with, is that they didn't have the healing capability from Zebbosai. So they need to use that Discord. They need to be able to get that damage through to be able to counter the healing.
So talk about this position for a shower, because it looks like Misfits have flanked around completely, and Cloud9 is just kind of responding in lights. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second here, as we do have their shut up for KAISER. It looks like Gods did knock off Reinforced here. This should be a fight held on to Cloud9. But again, the positioning that they were taking, they actually fell back to point instead of holding towards pillars.
It's interesting that they actually fell off the point. I would have expected them to maybe push back onto point, but it kind of makes sense moving them around. Just keep that distance, use the advantage of the Roadhog, because he can do so much damage at the right range to a Reinhardt shield that you take the Reinhardt shield down and then KAISER's got a free ultimate.
Here's the advantage of using such tank-heavy compositions as well. You have a huge amount of really powerful ultimates to use. Cloud9 have 4 in the bag. Misfits, it's going to be difficult for them, but they do have this Graviton up in a matter of moments. The follow-up has to be there, though. Sound Barrier popped out already from Cloud9. Manneten, though, has been pinned. He's got his own Zarya bubble to keep him alive, but not for long, as Misfits still fall. They've still got those ultimates, though. They didn't waste any in that fight. So they can come back into it. They actually managed to force out 3 from Cloud9 as well, so at the end of it, that's a decent fight for Misfits. If they manage to take it with this next one, which they absolutely have to, they could start the ball rolling.
But look at the position that they're holding. This Graviton surge out of Manneten is going to be so difficult to hit. I just want to point out quickly, we did have xepheR actually 1v2 TviQ and Nevix trying to keep that tactical advisor from coming out with the self-destruct. It's going to hit one, Reinforce is going to go down. Nevix does get the kill on the KAISER though, but God's turning around from the point, actually picks up the kill, somehow on a Manneten long range, and Nevix left on point, pretty much by himself trying to capture this point over is going to be a little bit too difficult, but you got xepheR there being desuited, the rest of the team of Misfits have been able to pick up these kills, and finally after 99%, Misfits do get control, but I mean, that's kind of what happens on this point of Nepal anyways. You kind of have people get to 99% and eventually it changes over and they can hold for 100 themselves.
I'm so surprised they managed to take that though as well, because KAISER hit a pretty good Earth Shatter to open things up. They managed to get the self-destruct through. Manneten, I think his ultimate got eaten as well in the midst of that, so they've used their Graviton and they didn't manage to, either didn't get the follow-up off camera, or it just got eaten by xepheR, who was really conscious of the fact that his ultimate was live and was playing really aggressively with his defense matrix.
Reinforce, he really wants to shatter. He's been trying to throw these fire strikes into so many people, just barely survives. Luckily for him, he's tall and he has big feet to hold on to. And Surefour does get the kill on TviQ, but the Earthshar's ready to go. You can see the shield's almost broken. Reinforce has to play this one so carefully to make sure to hit this one perfect, and he does it! KAISER's gonna block it out, but he does get the charge onto it nonetheless, but Gaz knocks him away with the whole hog, but the kills are all blue, and this point should be turned over, and with TviQ, the last man remaining, will allow Cloud9 to take a 2-1 lead here on Nepal.
A lot of mind games there between KAISER and Reinforce. The Korean getting the better end of it in the end.
If you're Reinforced there though, it's like
so difficult.
You have to use your shatter, right? You can't hold on to it. And if your KAISER's just like, all right, I'll keep my shield up the whole time. I mean, we say that Reinforced missed it, but it was kind of like you have to use it at that point.
Absolutely, and KAISER as well, playing the positioning of that corner so perfectly, backing off every time when he needed to generate a bit more ultimate on his shield. A couple of players baiting forwards as well. Roolf just steps out in front of the shield, seeing if he can draw the charge, the Earth Shatter rather, out of Reinforce, but it wasn't quite going to be baited by it until the very end. Cloud9 go up 2-1 in the map. Nepal, of course, best of 5, so Misfits can still come back from this one, but one more round from Cloud9, and they managed to secure it, and we're back to Village. Interesting to see Misfits go for a different composition here, though, moving away from Reinhardt-centric comps.
But Cloud9 going back to what they originally had on this Village map that they then quickly swapped off, which is interesting to see, knowing that they changed very quickly after the first fight.
Super aggression coming out here from Misfits at the top side. Debuff has already hit Reinforce, but playing the positioning nicely, doesn't take too much damage from it. A lot of pressure being applied here to Cloud9. They're kind of stuck in a little cubby hole, and Zebbosai's orbs come through, wreck Surefour. Do get the hook in onto Reinforce, but I think his careful bubble placement managed to mitigate a lot of the damage, and Misfits have played their composition and the aggression really well, going to be able to come up with the first cap.
You see the power of D.Va there, right?
Yeah, I got to call Manneten out there. He's just managed to block the hook damage twice. And could have changed the fight if they managed to get those 2 kills from those 2 hooks.
And even with the Roadhog out of Cloud9, KAISER lost his shield so quickly there too.
Yeah.
But they're able to get a point now. This is where things get a little bit iffy for Misfits, but they do have a team that can brawl this position. God's just going to be able to hit these hooks, but Zebbosai again gets Surefour down. KAISER is able to hit a charge, at least desuit Manneten for now. But look at this, xepheR, 96 energy. He's going to be nano boosted, and everyone has just become butter for him as he's that warm knife cutting through them with this laser.
They're getting their spawners in, and he's actually finding it a little difficult to do too much damage. There's the Earth Shatter, though. He's still got his Graviton. There's no need to commit it to this fight, or at least no need so far. They've just managed to flip the point over. So Misfits, with a decent stall towards the end there, get 31%. Manneten going Genji. I have not seen that at all from Misfits. This is something new.
Well, something that Misfits have to know right now is that xepheR has got that Graviton. There's no way that they will not know, with being charged and how long the fight has been and how long this map's gone on so far, that they've got to play around that.
But where's the reflex? Manneten, can you hit it, son? Can you be the team, or the play that your team needs? It's like the ground toss not going to be coming anytime soon, especially with the sound barrier use. It looks like they're just going to let that be the ultimate committed for now. And KAISER, his grab can help charge him another Earth Shadow, which means he can shut them down yet again. Manneten only at 14% on his Dragon Blade, so no Blade coming anytime soon.
Great synergy between all of the ultimates that Cloud9 have got. They've got the big bang combo as well. Surefour so far actually has been shut down pretty well by Misfits.
I mean, just look how Cloud9 are all sitting on point. Misfits, even with a man down, are sitting on high ground, just like waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, Cloud9 want to play in a real death ball style. They want to get maximum value out of them ultimates, bait them down onto the point. Here comes the sound barrier. Ult surely going to get used there. xepheR pops it out, catches a couple of players in it, see if they can mitigate it. Zebbosai used the Transcendence as well to keep everybody healthy inside of it. And they're finding a bit of damage, but everybody's so weak on the side of Misfits.
Zebbosai almost picked up that 1v1 against Surefour, but the recall's gonna be a little bit too strong for him, and not to mention Cloud9 gonna be a little bit too strong. That was gonna be picked up as he's just trying to run off the cliff and dive. And Cloud9 are, what, 25% away from taking a 2-0 lead against Misfits.
One fight, and they have Adam's ultimate, the sound barrier, and Roolf's coming up soon, so
yeah.
you could pass that over to KAISER and just he walks forward with a bit of speed boost and gets his ult mid-fight and can quite easily just turn it, but getting picked.
Manneten's got to get some value out of this Dragon Blade that he's just got online as well. Tactical buys it, but xepheR again in his face. xepheR has been playing so well on the D.Va and on the Zarya role. Manneten comes in with the Dragon Blade as well, though, instantly shut down. The focus there, so great. And KAISER with an Earth Shadow as well is going to finish this off. Surely, this is an impossible comeback for Misfits. They only had TviQ on the point. He's a great player, but it's not going to be enough. And Cloud9 asserting their dominance on Misfits' map pick there of Nepal.
That Earth Shatter was crucial to win that fight. It was still very even, 3 for 3, and he managed to pick up both supports with a Tracer pulse bomb coming through as well, just to make sure that they stay dead.
Oh God, it's gonna get the play of the game again.